Hi, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for joining our podcast and talking about gratitude and mental health. I hope everyone is having a great Thanksgiving weekend. My name is Nahani, and I will be your host today. This podcast was organized by Free Your Mind Initiative. Free Your Mind is a youth-based organization dedicated to promoting mental health awareness. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Blackfoot, the Treaty 7 people, including the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai, the Tsuut'ina, and the Stoney Nakoda First Nations. This territory is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. Finally, we acknowledge all nations, Indigenous and non, who live, work, play, and help us steward this land, honor, and celebrate this territory. We are joined here today by Grace, Dora, Kristen, Nesma, and Dora. I will give them the floor to tell us a bit about themselves. If each speaker would like to introduce themselves, including the school they attend, the grade they're currently in, that would be awesome.
Okay, awesome. I can go first. So, hey everyone, my name is Grace, and I am a grade 12 student at Sir Winston Churchill High School.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm also a student at Sir Winston Churchill. I'm in grade 12.
Hi, my name is Nesma. I am in grade 12 at Henry Wisewood High School.
And my name's Dora. I'm a grade 10 student at Western Canada High School.
Thank you so much to all our guests for speaking and being here today. I would like to mention before we start that there will be moments in this podcast that we will be talking about mental health and personal experiences. With the subject of mental health, there is always the possibility of discussing subjects that are maybe sensitive to others. As everyone has different personal boundaries, please feel free to step away if you ever feel uncomfortable. Our speakers are encouraged to take breaks if needed and share only what they feel comfortable sharing. With this all being said, let's kick off our discussions. So whether you practice it yearly, daily, gratitude is a subject many people are familiar with. What few people realize is that gratitude can have significant impact on one's mental health. Recently, there has been a rise in research of how practicing gratitude can have short and long-term effects on one's life. Some have reported feeling unshackled from stress, having more motivation simply by changing their focus. To me, the most interesting research conducted was the lasting effects on anxiety. In our little study with gratitude, we invited our speakers to participate in gratitude journaling throughout a number of days and report their experiences. I would like to welcome anyone to discuss how they have felt by gratitude journaling. And of course, if at any time you feel uncomfortable, skip a question, feel free to do so. So I'll just start off with the first question. Would you like to... Firstly, would you like to explain a little bit about your daily gratitude journaling process and what that looked like?
Okay, so every day before I went to sleep, I would just reflect on my day and the things that I was grateful for. That way I was able to be optimistic the next day and excited for the day because I would reflect on the good things that had happened that day.
I think my process was very similar. I did mine at the end of the day as well. And it does take a bit of thought because, some days you don't have a good day, but when you do reflection, it really kind of brings out those little good moments in your day. And yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I did something similar, but then I also in the middle, I kind of switched it up a bit just to see what would happen. So the first little bit, what I did was I did it right before I went to bed. And I feel like it was really helpful because it like made me feel like I actually accomplished something during the day and that I didn't waste a day. So it was really helpful in that way. And I feel like it makes me like more calm before I go to bed. So that way I won't be like thinking about all the things that I still have to do and stuff like that. But then later on, sometimes right before bed is also like the moment where I just feel the most tired and I feel less motivated, I think. So later on in the days that we were doing this, I actually switched it to like right after school finished, and I would just get it done. And basically, that was like, it was kind of not as good, I would say, just because I didn't get an opportunity to reflect on what happened in the rest of the day. So I found like everything happened then wouldn't be talked about in my journals. But I guess like it also made sure that I was able to do it every day. So maybe there's like a trade-off there or something. I don't know. But objectively, I guess like I would say I still do prefer doing it right before bed. But yeah.
Yeah, for me as well. Originally, I was trying to think of like a good time today to do it, and I ended up always doing it kind of before bed. But that was one thing that I had noticed as well, is that you're kind of you're in a mindset at that time where you just kind of want to sleep. But then again, if you do it earlier in the day, then there's been things in your day that you can't be grateful for yet, or that haven't happened yet that you would be grateful for. Yeah, but I had similar processes that too, just every night before bed.
Yeah, I find that like a lot of the things that I actually appreciate most actually come like in the afternoon after school, which is, I don't know, maybe I should work on trying to find more things that are enjoyable during the school day, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next question, you guys kind of already touched on it a little bit. Did you have any difficulties writing? I know we talked about motivation. Were there any days that were less motivated to find positive aspects to write about?
Well, there are definitely some days where where it was easier to talk about things. I feel like on the weekends, when you have more free time and there's more fun stuff to do, it's easier to think of things that you're grateful for. And there's also certain days where like an event occurred where it was easy to pinpoint something. Like for example, Orange Shirt Day, which is the day where you wear an orange shirt to recognize the residential schools. Like that was just an easy thing to think. Oh, I'm grateful for everybody that wore an orange shirt. But they're just kind of uneventful days where it was like nothing really happened. It was harder to just think of something right away, that you had to think more about it, specifically what you were grateful for.
Does anyone else want to share their difficulties?
I would say like the same thing for me, just because I guess on the weekends you feel like you have more free time too, and that you get to do more fun things. But it's also that like on the weekends, I guess I don't feel as drained like mentally, just because I didn't really have to like do so much homework, and I can like split out my homework over like a long period of time, so I didn't have to like drain my brain too quickly. And then I guess like on the weekend, you also get to spend time with your family members. So I felt like that was really enjoyable. But then I guess like on some of the days, especially when there's like a lot of homework or there's a exam the next day, it was really difficult, I think, to, just like calm down, because I find that like when you're doing gratitude journaling, you not only have to think, but you have to just be really calm and you have to be reflecting on what happened during the day. But when your mind is kind of like halfway thinking about the exam tomorrow and then halfway thinking about all the things you didn't do and thinking about all the stuff that you need to study still, it's like a lot more difficult, I would say, to do gratitude journaling that way. And then I find that like it impacts like the length of my journals. Like some days on the weekends I might write like a lot because I really felt like this moment was a really cool thing. But then on other days, I might just be doing it kind of like as a chore. I'll just write down 5 things quickly and then just be like, okay, that's I did my thing for today, I guess. But yeah, I feel like just because like I feel like that shows that I think I need more practice in being able to spot like little moments. So yeah, I wouldn't say like overall it's a negative experience, but like there's just like things that I can improve in when it comes to gratitude journaling. Yeah.
I relate to Grace in the sense that I also think that some days it feels like a chore because, you know, the next day I have assignments due, I have exams due. I just don't like have time to do it, even though it doesn't take that much time to reflect. As well, it is like when you're so mentally drained, it's so hard to like think. It's so hard to like push yourself to actually reflect on what you think is so good. And sometimes, you know, on school days you just don't have the time and stuff like that.
Yeah, same here. I relate with everyone on the aspect that it's really hard to, especially during long days, to be able to motivate yourself into recalling things that you were grateful for. And I found myself reflecting on like really small things because I told myself like each day I'd write 5 things that I'm grateful for. So sometimes I'd only have like 2 or 3, but then I have to think about like really simple things like, oh, at least I have a bed, at least I have like a house, at least like I have like my mom to drive me from school, like instead of taking transit with all that stuff. So it allowed me to be able to recognize the small things and how grateful I am overall.
I'm just curious, like, do you guys ever feel guilty for not completing a gratitude journal on one day?
Yeah, there was a couple of days where I'd be like, I couldn't think of anything, and then I'd just be like, oh, you know, I'm grateful for like kind of what Nesma was saying, like, oh yeah, like my dog. I'm just grateful that I have a dog, but it's like it'd be like, oh, I wish I had thought of something more in depth. But
Yeah.
I guess like, you know, there's some days where it's just maybe it's not your best day, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Did you guys feel like the journaling impacted you immediately in the moment?
So I feel like it did impact me in lots of ways. Like for me, for myself, I'm quite like self-conscious and like I don't have much confidence. So when I was able to journal like 5 things that I was grateful for, some things were related to like friends and family, and I was able to, how do I say this? I was able to recognize that I actually have people, and I have people who like me, and I have people who will be there for me. So instead of like at times when I feel like self-conscious, it would just boost up my mood, and then it will like impact me through the rest of the day.
I think okay, so I think like I do definitely relate to what Nesma said. For me, when I was, I guess like journaling, I found that like maybe in the beginning I wrote stuff that like big things like, oh, we had an event today and it was like really fun or something like that. But then later on, as it got more like, I guess like I couldn't think of anything, I really had to like think more deeply. And then I started focusing more on like special moments that aren't even that, you know, amazing, but those are the moments that I really enjoyed. It's like some of the examples I can give are like I saw when I was walking by these trees, like the wind blew and then all the leaves flew on top of me, and it was really pretty. And I really loved that moment um, just because it was like so much fun. But then I think like when I reflected these moments, it really gave me more of a like a warm feeling inside, I guess you could say, just because maybe if it wasn't for this gratitude journaling, then I wouldn't have really appreciated that moment, wouldn't have had the opportunity to look back on it and think about all the like cool moments that happened in my life, I guess. Yeah, so I would say in that moment, I was like really grateful for being able to. I was grateful for, I should have wrote that down at the bottom. I was grateful for doing this thing and then like being able to appreciate these moments.
Did you guys want to move on to the next question? As it's a kind of a similar guiding question. How did it compare to how you felt to the rest of the day, or any more long-term effects compared to the more immediate effects of gratitude?
I don't know. I feel like personally, the whole like the journaling maybe this will end up being more of a long-term effect as, you know, I go on doing stuff, but it just kind of makes you realize little, like kind of what Grace was saying. It's like little moments that you wouldn't even have thought about without like putting a little bit of conscious thought into it. Yeah, I don't know. I think that definitely as it went on, I became more and more aware of kind of what was happening, and more little things that I should be grateful for.
I think that's like really what happened to me. Like something what happened was maybe in the beginning I would just like think about things I was grateful for when I was writing the journals. But then as the days went on, especially like near the end, I felt like I was looking for those great moments that I was grateful for throughout the day. And it was in the moment instead of me reflecting on it when I was trying to write my gratitude journal, which was like really interesting, I think, for me. Just because now I'm realizing like how much I kind of missed out on, you know, because there are these moments and they're going to happen. And it's like really up to how you take the moments and you like your perspective and how you know, view the moment. And then you can get so much more out of the moment if you just like, you know, oh, wow, that was really nice. I'm really grateful for it versus if you just pass through by without thinking too much about it. So I feel like that was something interesting. Yeah.
Awesome. Did you guys feel impressed, neutral, or disappointed by the results of the mini experiment?
I would say definitely impressed. Like personally, when I started, I kind of just thought it would be like something like quick that I do and I wouldn't really care about, if that makes sense. But the more like as the days progressed, the more I was looking forward to writing and reflecting on the things that I did. And it actually did have, or from what I can tell so far, it has an impact on the way I perceive life and just like the way, like allowing me to be motivated and excited for the next day.
I would say I'm also impressed because, you know, on a normal day, I wouldn't find these things I'm grateful for. And through the process of journaling, I've been able to write down way more like things I'm grateful for than I've ever expected. And it really gives you perspective on, um, sorry, on the fact that, you know, there's more to life than you think there is, right? There's there is good, there's bad things in the world, but there's also a lot of good in it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'm also gonna say that it was like I was quite impressed by doing gratitude journaling, I guess. For me personally, I'm someone who's like more I just like think like my brain is constantly buzzing. Like there's always these voices that are telling me, "Oh, I have to do this. No, I still have to do this," and I can't really forget anything. Especially like you know when I'm trying to sleep and stuff like that. It takes like 30 minutes for me to fall asleep. Where some people, like my brother, he just like falls asleep immediately, which I'm super jealous of. But yeah, I know. But I guess like that's actually not as related to gratitude journaling, but I think like through gratitude journaling, it just like gives me maybe just like 10-20 minutes to just chill and not really think about anything else. To just think about everything that happened in the day and write down a few things that, you know, went really well in the day. And I feel like that has like a calming effect. I think I mentioned this a little bit, but it just made me feel more in the moment and more present. And then I feel like I don't really want to be stuck in my mind all the time, which is why I felt like this was definitely something that is really worthwhile to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna say also I was impressed. I think that I'm a person that, you know, I procrastinate, I get stressed, I don't study, and then, you know, the next day I have a test and it's great. Not great actually. I'm kidding. but but yeah, I think that, you know, just taking a moment to just kind of reflect on like everything that's good, taking a moment to just, yeah, like you said, not think, just kind of be calm for a bit. It's definitely super helpful for all the stress of life, especially right now with everything's kind of going crazy and everything's kind of uncertain. But yeah, it's good to take a minute to just kind of reflect on everything.
And I think like when we're talking about like don't think or thinker, because I think that like when you're reflecting, you do have to think really hard about like what happened today and like how much you're grateful for. But the fact is that you're thinking about something that is really good, and it like makes you more calm in that sense. And it also shuts off like all the voices that are saying like, oh, you got to study for this test and these deadlines are out coming up and you're going to be not very happy if you don't do it right now. But it shuts off those voices, and then at the same time you can like focus your mind on thinking about good things. And then they're not like as taxing on your brain, I would say, because you're just thinking about some good things that happened, and you don't have to like feel really stressed about things that are coming up. Yeah.
Do you guys think you'll continue to either gratitude journal or incorporate gratitude in your daily life?
I think I probably would. I probably wouldn't write it down though. I probably, before I go to sleep, I just think about it and like actually reflect on everything. And then that way I feel like it would be more consistent in my life instead of writing it down, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not a very consistent person. Like there's, certain things like every morning, you have a routine and whatever. But I'm definitely bad at routines. Although I feel like, if I set myself some sort of routine, whether that be writing something down or drawing or whatever kind of way of expression, it would definitely be beneficial. Like I think that the idea of being grateful and like doing a moment of gratitude every day is super useful. So I'd probably try to, I might not write it down, but definitely take a moment to just kind of think about it.
I think for me, I'm probably gonna keep writing it down just because I feel like I guess like I also want to be able to like read on the past stuff that I've thought of and reflect on it. So it's kind of like pictures, how people like to keep an album of the pictures of them traveling or like their past. And I think maybe keeping this journal will be it'll be pretty nice to look back and see what the experiences that you thought were really nice and then maybe relive those experiences a little bit. I feel like that might be nice. And I do feel like I hope to be as consistent as possible, but yeah, it's definitely not gonna be like the easiest thing. Hopefully, like once it becomes a habit, it'll become easier. But yeah, who knows what'll happen.
I think that I won't keep a gratitude journal, but I'll definitely use the like skills I've learned through gratitude journaling. So like being aware of those small moments in your day and reflecting on those good moments at the end of the day and being able to just take out all that negativity and just focus on the good for like a moment.
Would you guys recommend this process? And if so, to whom?
I'd for sure recommend it to someone who's like having a hard time, not really seeing much in life, and I just say like each day write one thing that you're grateful for, and as the days progress, you write like an additional one. But like I feel also like everyone should do it. Like it doesn't really matter like what you're going through because like we all have things that we're grateful for, and overall it will just like make us a better person.
Yeah, I think for me, I would say the exact same. I'm gonna run ad campaigns for gratitude journaling. Oh no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I feel like anyone definitely can try gratitude journaling at the very least. And I think like once you try, don't just say you'll try it for one day. Maybe try it for like 10 days or like a longer period of time, and then see if it works for you. I mean. I guess like this is my personal opinion, but it really did work for me. And I feel like, there's no harm in trying and seeing what will happen. So just might as well go for it. And it really isn't that much time too. Like, it seems like a lot of work, but after it's just like 10 minutes before bed or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I think that there's a lot of little things that I personally take for granted, and there's things that everybody takes for granted, and it's good to just take a moment to think about all the things that you have and the things that that you're grateful for. So I definitely say like for sure, everybody should at least give it a shot. Like for some people, maybe it's not their thing, maybe it won't work, but for some people, that it's definitely a good way to reflect on everything.
I think that everyone should try it. I think specifically students, because I've heard so much of my friends say that school sucks, right? And I feel like in order to be able to do well in school, and you really do want a positive mindset. You really want to go into school having a positive mindset. And I don't know, maybe through gratitude journaling, they'll be able to find that school doesn't suck as much as they think it does.
Yeah, I think like it's so important to find moments that are enjoyable even when you don't like
Yeah.
you have to go to school essentially. I would say like you should probably go to school. So there's like since there's like not really much choice there, why don't you try and change a few things and see if you can make it better? It'll only benefit yourself, I guess. Yeah. I mean that's
Well,
experiences.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I was gonna say, like, I feel like right when the pandemic started, people before didn't really think school was like whatever. But then the second that maybe a month after everything went online, people started to get sick of having online school and just really wished they could be back in school. So I think there's things like that where people just don't realize that it's such a big part of your life. And yes, it's a lot of boring stuff about school, but like, the fact that you can see your friends and everything like that, some people. Like it's just there's things like that where people overlook things or maybe take things for granted. So I think that gratitude journaling is definitely something that could make you think more about some of those things.
And speaking of like the pandemic, I definitely feel like because like there is a little bit of like social isolation or physical isolation happening, it's really important to keep your mind like mentally well and like find ways to spend your time that will help you be more happy. And I feel like gratitude journaling is definitely one of the really nice ways to go about this. And then it's like a good use of your time alone because now everyone has to spend a lot of time alone. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say it would be a really good idea to do it like for like the pandemic. Like social isolation's hard. You and your thoughts, and sometimes you spiral into these really negative thoughts, really depressing thoughts, like oh, am I good enough, stuff like am I doing enough during the pandemic, am I is this okay, like is it okay for me to like stay at like sorry, is it okay for me to like do this, like like things like that. And it's so important to combat those thoughts, to tell yourself it's okay, there are good stuff in my life, not everything is awful, and it's so important to think of those thoughts in order to push through that social isolation.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Sorry, Grace.
It's okay. I just think that like if you can make your day better just by a little bit and you keep doing that for every day that you have to live, then ultimately that's what basically equals to a really happy life. So yeah, definitely recommend gratitude journaling. Everyone should try it at least. Yeah.
From what I've heard from your guys' experiences is that it's a lot of changing your mindset and not focusing on those negative emotions. I think that as in gratitude in general, it can be very beneficial to not allow yourself to become those negative emotions and to halt them, experience them, but then let them go and allow yourself to also be in the moment and happy and not feel guilt for the past and kind of live spur of the moment. So that was very interesting to hear all your guys' experiences. I definitely have heard of other people doing like a minute a day little journals of their days and what they appreciated of them, or even just meditating and thinking about what they're grateful for. So, did anyone else want to add any comments or questions?
Well, I was wondering, do you guys have any other ideas for how we might incorporate gratitude into our lives?
I have a really cool idea actually. I've heard of people doing it. They take a picture of one happy moment every single day, and they're able to see a slideshow of the year, what it looks like. I think it's called like 5 seconds a day, or 5 seconds in the year's view. And I think that's very interesting. Again, like archiving those happy moments. I think that can be pretty cool and nice experiment.
Yeah, I think that's so cool.
Um,
That's actually such a cool idea.
Yeah. I think personally, instead of waiting for good things to happen in your day, you should do things that make you happy. So give yourself the opportunity to have more gratitude. Act on like right? Like do things that make you happy, right? Talk like maybe talking to your friends, doing art. Like don't wait don't wait for gratitude to come to you.
I love that. Did anyone else want to share their thoughts?
Um,
Oh, sorry.
so I got one. So personally, for my gratitude journal, I can actually I made a layout for it, and then I kind of like added some like doodly things to it. Can you guys see that? I don't know. I feel like
Wow, that's so cute.
thanks. So if you're like on the more artistic side, I guess this is something that you can do too. So if something you really love is like art, for example, like that could be a good way to incorporate that into it, so it seems less like a chore. So if you're really into music or if you're really into a sport, if you can find a way to incorporate that into your gratitude somehow, that could be a way to make it like a more enjoyable experience for yourself, and just to make it more interesting and more fun.
That's super. Sorry, you go
Okay.
first.
I also feel like it's very important that we try and be grateful for like tough moments. I won't necessarily say bad moments in our life, but tough moments in our life where we make like really hard decisions that like they impact us negatively, but it's for something better, if that makes sense. And we should always be grateful for the decisions that we make and the hardships that we go through, because overall that builds us as a person. And on top of that, allows us to be grateful for small things and like just to be able to be grateful overall for the positive things as well, if that makes sense.
Uh, yeah, I agree. It's it's important to be grateful for the tough moments in your life. So, say you had like a 70 on a unit test. It's not good, right? But it gave you experience, and that's something to be grateful for. So, by having that experience, you could do better on the next test. And there's always so much positive, even in the bad, and it's a good thing to be able to identify those.
Yeah, gratitude is very personal. And I think it's very interesting that each of you guys had different experiences while still doing the same experiment. I think that if you were to try to incorporate gratitude in your life, you can do that in any manner and explore it and make it so that you enjoy it. It doesn't seem like a chore, but also kind of cater it to your life. And yeah, okay. Is everybody happy with the input that they shared? Okay. So wrapping this episode up, I would just like to thank all the speakers for sharing their ideas. I hope that some elements of this podcast were informational or inspirational for for people who were able to tune in. If you would like to participate as a speaker on our next podcast or webinar, please feel free to sign up using the link in our Instagram bio at Free Your Mind Initiative. You can always contact us with questions or new ideas through our mail at info@freeyourmind.com or through our Instagram as well. Just a quick note that we will be launching our mentorship program soon, where we will connect post-secondary students with mentees to discuss personal mental health and how mentees and help mentees out in areas as they need. Thank you so much for tuning into our conversation today, and we hope to see you again at our other Free Your Mind events.